The cry of a mother. 65-year-old Agnes Onu stands in front of her daughter's grave, calling on God to avenge Nnennaya's death, which occurred on the 23rd of December, 2021. She was allegedly murdered at her family compound in Onitsha local government area of Ebonyi State. A visit by our crew to the crime scene shows traces left behind from the sad occurrence. Although her sister would not point accusing fingers, she suggests that the gruesome murder is the result of a dispute over family property.
Before his death, my father happened to be the first child of the family who's supposed to inherit the family compound. This is not their family compound. It is because of threat to life that made my father to leave the family compound up there to come and elect a building in this kind of environment. Just because he gave birth to girls. Though he also gave birth to boys, but the boys are not alive. From my mother's side, because they later compared him to get married to another woman who can give him a male child, which he later did. And they compelled him to leave the compound to go and elect a building somewhere and abandoned us in this kind of a place. You can see how lonely this place is.
The State Human Rights Commission received a formal complaint about the tragic incident, and at this press briefing provides clearer details.
The alleged threat implies that the above-mentioned persons allegedly vowed to kill Miss Onu Nnennaya and her mother, Mrs. Agnes Onu Nwokori, before the burial of their father. That 3 days later, after the threat, Miss Onu Nnennaya was brutally murdered and burnt.
Yes, investigation into that.
Spokesperson of the Ebonyi State Police Command provides assurance that investigations will be carried out to bring the perpetrators of the dastardly act to book.
The family were able to tell us that they were afraid. In fact, they were afraid of more killings, they were afraid of more death. It is very unfortunate that they don't know that offense of murder is a case against the state.
A member of the community insists that if the family is too afraid to pursue the case, the attackers will be fished out the traditional way.
It's a taboo in our place. We now come out, all the elders in the village, from beginning to the end. Every morning, without tasting anything, without slippers, we gather at the main road, the village square, do the prayer they used to do, and seal it, and be waiting for the result.
According to Igbo tradition, conflicts over property are prevalent, and even worse where the claimants to inheritance rights are female.
They were excluded because they were not, they are seen as people that belong to another family. People that belong to another family that were married out, and their rights will be part of their husbands. Wherever family they find themselves, that is where their rights belongs to.
But does the culture take into consideration other fallouts of the woman's sojourn, that her father could only give birth to female children, as is the case of Nnennaya, that she could get married and still face contention over her husband's estate, and that ultimately, like the boy child, the girl child also has inalienable rights? But many more women are beginning to kick against this practice, considered by a lot of people as unfair to the female folk.
There's one ongoing, that is at High Court, Uguta. It has to do with inheritance. The lady, Mrs. Linda, she's just an only child, a female, and the father passed on. Before she can come down from Lagos where she resides, they have already locked the compound.
The Supreme Court, in a landmark decision in Ukeje versus Ukeje in August 2020, upheld the right of a female child to inherit property of her father, thereby voiding the age-long custom in Igbo land which forbids a female child from inheriting her late father's estate. The cold-blooded murder of Nnennaya Onu goes a long way to show how deeply entrenched the culture is, and it may require more than just a court document to reform mindsets that see female children as second-class citizens. Bukola Samuel Wemimo for Channels Television News.